If there's one message I could leave you with here today, it's this. The world of communications is radically being transformed. And the way that you create an image, the way that you promote an image and protect a reputation, it's really changing on a new digital platform. And I think the future presents itself with all kinds of wonderful opportunities in ways that may be rather unexpected and following certain forces of change that may be beyond the conscious awareness of people who make themselves students of the media and marketing game. A number of years ago, here's the definition of PR, and that would surprise a lot of people, I think. Bernays defined a PR professional as a practicing social scientist whose competence is like that of the industrial engineer, the management engineer, aka the management consultant today, or the investment counselor in their respective fields. And there was this idea that the PR person should provide their clients this sort of cross-pollinized, multidisciplinary advice, drawing on anthropology and social psychology and sociology. Well, this is what a lot of PR people today are describing as new. We stare fixedly at one of these devices 90% of the time, almost all day long now. The PC at your desktop, the mobile device, your iPad now. And so, yes, people still get a newspaper delivered to their door, but which now commands most eyeballs? Do more eyeballs spend more time looking here, or do more eyeballs spend more time looking here and the scrolling news feed? And nobody has time for stories anymore. We have that long to cut through the clutter and reach out and connect with people and have them understand what we're trying to say. You know, a story is the most important things that a company needs to tell its target audiences. That sounds common sense or simple, right? But I think we're doing it to certain ends. I think we're doing it so that those people we're communicating to will, doesn't this sound frightening and manipulative, do and think what we want them to do or think. Know about a company or think highly of it, recommend its products to others or invest in the stock, make positive comments to others online, or even want to work there. It's really remarkable around the world of PR how few campaigns, communications campaigns begin through this, okay, well, what is it we want people to do and think as a result of our efforts? Most of our efforts are going into not the 95% of our marketing decisions that are made unconsciously, but the 5% that are conscious. And that's not actually the real battleground area. You talk to any journalist today, and they'll tell you that all of these different aspects of their profession are under challenge. They don't get 30 press releases like they used to. They get 300. 10 years ago, they went to a news conference with a notebook to take text comments down. Now they also have to drag along a camera like that and a digital camera to capture stills. They used to have to file 1 or 2 stories a day. Now they have to do 6 blog posts a day. So this results in a highly stressed media environment. And you speak to the journos out there, and this is a real crisis. What we're seeing now is that even though news content, especially through aggregation online, while it's big, journalism itself is getting much smaller. Now this is happening at different speeds and to a different extent, depending on the nation. So the story quality is going down. If a brand's involvement in a story, like the car in the chase, is still the best way to get noticed for a product, what do we do if there's fewer news sources around that are trusted and if there's a smaller number of stories to influence? Where can we communicate narratives which have impact at this all-critical unconscious level? We see a lot of reduced trust in institutions. Year after year you look at the polling surveys and people trust the big governments or the big corporations or the big media institutions less than they used to. So they're replacing this sort of top-down trust with a peer-to-peer trust where they are developing their own networks of trust with people that they know. Friends, family, co-workers. And they're demanding, they want to make up their own minds and they want to have an interaction with the brand. It's like the spectators at a sporting event wanting to get on the field with the professional athletes. If you can harness the enthusiasm of certain people online in writing, they've created this image, and then because they're friends, family, a peer, a coworker, because they're part of that horizontal trust axis, then even though they won't be seen to have an interest in a product or a brand, the kind of obvious conflict of interest that would turn people off, because they'd be seen to be advertising advocates. No, because that's not, they're not aware of that. Like Trojan horse-like, they're seen as a credible peer. So influencing these people has a massive influence and credibility on people below the radar of that conscious awareness of marketing that is so crucial to persuasion. I would say the vast majority of communications campaigns around the world do not start with listening with people. Especially communications campaigns from Western multinational corporations, they tend to start with push communications. Here's what you should think, rather than asking of a question, here's the projection of a point of view. I think a lot of people don't get this. They think, let's call the PR department. The PR department will talk to the journalist will write the story, and then that will convince people. Well, actually, with this media zone shrinking, we can be way more B2C about it now. Every company can be a media company. You don't need a media outlet to provide pictures or the story content or to write headlines or put these links out there or to have a conversation. You can do it all yourself. Network solutions. My network solutions service, my website is down again. Well, if you do that actually with network solutions, they have a guy now, and all he does, Dell has such people too, all they do is they intercept people criticizing the company online. Sorry to hear of your trouble, what can we do to bring about a solution? You are making them feel important. They have a relationship with the brand. They are being listened to. This is all because they have resources intercepting this dialogue in social media. The analogs, 40 plus, have a certain wiring and disposition. And those, particularly in their 20s, who understand the nimble and agile sensibilities of social networks, well, they think completely differently about these things. I think we have to avoid, in order to achieve a trustworthy credibility in corporate communication, a matching of the reality of the rhetoric. A lot of companies who have a negative reality will say, let's hire the PR agency and you can create some new image for us. But we always will decline such assignments because we can take a positive reality and make it famous, but we can't take a negative reality and then make it something it's not, because that's called propaganda. This is the exciting thing about doing PR. It's just anyone who's a grizzled veteran on digital or social media, well, they've only been doing it for, what, 3 years? 5 maybe. I do think, though, that the mainstream media is still important. Whatever's happened, I mean, maybe the mainstream media is like the arteries, and the digital media, the social media is like the capillaries, but they're all part of the same media bloodstream, and they all feed into each other.